You may have at least once hummed along to the timeless melody of "All I Want for Christmas Is You" every holiday season, or passionately danced to the roaring guitar riffs of "Sweet Child O' Mine." We love these songs, we know every lyric by heart, yet we've never truly known the people behind them. We see them shining with fair-skinned blonde hair or that classic Euro-American rock look, and we instinctively assume they belong to a different world. But the truth is, behind the platinum powder and the stage lights, a proud African heritage flows through their veins. Some fought to reclaim their identity, while others were forced to hide their roots for a lifetime just to earn a ticket onto the stage. Today, I'm going to flip through those secret diary pages with you. 10 individuals, 10 superstars, and the truth about their Black origins that will make you listen to those familiar hits with a completely different perspective. Starting right now, join me as we uncover the hidden corners of Hollywood, and don't forget to hit subscribe to support the channel. 1. Mariah Carey, the diva and the identity whitewashing script. There is a truth that few notice when the melody of "All I Want for Christmas Is You" rings out every year. Mariah Carey is not just a musical icon, she is a living testament to the complexity of racial identity in Hollywood. In the early 90s, when Mariah first emerged with her bouncy curls and a soaring 5-octave range, the public and global media almost universally labeled her a pure white pop princess. But behind that radiant exterior was a completely different reality flowing through her veins. Mariah's father, Alfred Roy Carey, was an African-American and Venezuelan man. The combination of Latino and Black heritage with her white Irish mother created the multiracial Mariah Carey. However, in the music industry of that era, this diversity was viewed as a commercial obstacle. When she signed with Sony Music, image strategists decided to mold her into the template of a white artist to easily penetrate the mass market and pop charts, which were then dominated by Euro-American faces. In the early years of her career, Mariah often appeared with brightened skin and hair treated to downplay her women of color features. This created a painful conflict within her soul. While the world worshipped her as a white angel, Mariah's memories were scarred by discrimination. She once shared stories of a restless childhood where her family was seen as an eyesore in the neighborhood. There were times when extremist neighbors poisoned the family dog, or even burned the lawn in front of their house, simply because they couldn't accept a multiracial family living next door. The pain of having to hide in an incomplete identity followed Mariah for many years until she gained enough power to decide her own image and music, infusing R&B and hip-hop elements deeply rooted in Black culture into her later albums. Mariah Carey was the one who paved the way for a new definition of multiracial beauty, reminding us that stage glamour is sometimes just a mask hiding a resilient journey. Her career has been a silent struggle to be herself, a diva who possesses not only a voice, but also a rich cultural legacy. Mariah's career has been a silent struggle to be herself, a diva who possesses not only a world-class voice, but also a rich cultural legacy. Continuing our journey to uncover these hidden heritages, we transition from the smooth pop melodies of Mariah Carey into the world of fiery electric guitars and the rebellious spirit of rock and roll. There, we find a name that the moment it is mentioned instantly brings to mind the image of a bohemian rogue in a top hat, curls masking his face, wielding a legendary Gibson Les Paul. 2. Slash, the rock guitar and a silent legacy from a Black mother. For decades, Slash, the lead guitarist of Guns N' Roses, has stood as an eternal icon of hard rock. With his gritty appearance and high-octane playing style, the public has often defaulted to seeing him as a quintessential white artist of the rock world. Yet behind that thorny exterior lies an origin story few know, a truth that helped forge his profound musical philosophy. Slash-born Saul Hudson was raised by a truly remarkable woman, Ola Hudson. She was a powerful African-American figure in the arts at the time, a talented costume designer who dressed legends like David Bowie and Ringo Starr. More importantly, she was the one who directly introduced Slash to the world of creativity. Growing up in a household that was a vibrant intersection of his father's British culture and his mother's black heritage gave Slash a rich, multifaceted musical worldview. Many fans were utterly stunned when they first saw photographs of Slash standing beside his mother. The visual contrast between a light-skinned rock star and a visibly black woman often sparked intense discussions about identity. Slash has shared that he never felt the need to tether himself to a specific racial label. To him, music is a language that transcends all skin tones. However, it is the soul and the raw instinctive improvisation in his guitar work that bear the unmistakable fingerprints of black blues and jazz masters, the very pioneers who laid the foundation for the entirety of rock and roll history. While rock is often perceived as a stronghold for white artists, Slash's presence is a bold affirmation that African heritage flows silently yet fiercely through the heart of this genre. He didn't choose to make loud proclamations about his roots in the press. Instead, he let the music speak. Every note he strikes contains a blend of Western technical mastery and the scorching rhythm of his ancestry. Slash's story reminds us that cultural icons sometimes carry layers of depth far beyond what the eye can perceive. Slash's career is a testament to the fact that heritage doesn't have to be flaunted. It lives in every breath and every contribution an artist makes to their craft. And while Slash opted for silence, allowing the music to prove his identity, the next star in our journey, a young pop icon, faces a completely different reality, one where she must constantly speak out to defend her black identity against public skepticism simply because she appears too white. 3. Halsey. The battle for identity in a white-passing world. To look at Halsey is to see a girl with fair skin, crystal-clear blue eyes, and the quintessential look of an American muse. Yet behind that facade lies a soul eternally fueled by the fire of black heritage. Her father, Chris Frangipane, is African-American, while her mother is white. This combination granted Halsey an appearance that sociologists call white passing, a term used for people of color whose physical features are indistinguishable from those of white people. However, for Halsey, this appearance can sometimes feel like an identity prison. She has frequently faced mockery and sharp criticism from the online community whenever she speaks out in support of black rights movements. Many claim she is not black enough to understand the pain or systemic discrimination that the community endures. In the face of such skepticism, Halsey has never wavered. She asserts that she is a black woman, and that truth remains unchanged regardless of how her skin tone registers under a camera flash. Halsey's story is a modern snapshot proving that identity is not merely what is visible on the surface. She leverages her fame to shed light on the struggles of biracial individuals, those who often feel out of place in both worlds. Halsey does not choose the path of silence. She weaves her multiracial heritage into her music, her lifestyle, and her heavyweight stage speeches. She has become the representative voice for a new generation, a generation where bloodline and heritage are honored through self-awareness and personal pride, rather than the outdated prejudices of the masses. Halsey's steadfastness in protecting her roots has served as an inspiration for many young people struggling to find their own place in the world. And it is fascinating to discover that within this same vibrant music industry, there is another rock artist, famed for his edgy style and iconic hair, who also carries a legacy from the distant Caribbean waters, yet chooses to manifest that pride in a very different way. 4. Pete Wentz, the soul of emo rock and the Jamaican heritage. To mention Fall Out Boy is to recall powerful punk rock melodies and the name Pete Wentz, the band's bassist and primary lyricist. Throughout the 2000s, Pete was an idol to millions of teenagers worldwide with his signature emo style. Yet behind the heavy eyeliner and the rebellious exterior of an American rock star, few know that a very special bloodline from the island of Jamaica flows through his veins. Pete's mother, Dale Lewis, is a woman of Jamaican descent with deep African roots. Furthermore, his maternal grandfather, Arthur Winston Lewis, was an influential figure who served in the military and as a Jamaican ambassador to several countries. This heritage is not just dry personal data, it has been a profound inspiration throughout Pete Wentz's artistic journey. He frequently shares how his grandfather taught him about freedom, pride, and how to stand firm on his own 2 feet in a society rife with stereotypes. While Pete Wentz does not often make race a central theme in his music, the confidence and the way he led Fall Out Boy to shatter the boundaries of rock and roll are a spiritual inheritance from his roots. He proudly appears with his mother at major events, a silent affirmation, "This is me, and this is the source that molded the person I am today." Seeing an icon of a genre often considered a privilege of white youth having roots in the Caribbean is a fascinating shock that helps break down the walls of prejudice regarding music and race. Pete Wentz's quiet pride proves that heritage is an internal strength that helps an artist shine in their own way. But if Pete Wentz or Halsey still show visible biracial features upon close inspection, the story of our next character is an even more inverse case, where a rapper with a completely white appearance carries the soul and the harshest experiences of a true black man. 5. Logic, the fractured ego. Behind an unrecognizable face. In the world of hip-hop, where skin color and street experience are often seen as the passport for recognition, Logic, born Sir Robert Bryson Hall II, appears as a controversial paradox. With his fair-skinned light curls and the face of an intellectual youth, Logic is often mistaken for an outsider, trying to infiltrate black culture. But the truth behind that facade is a story more harrowing, painful, and deeply African than anyone could imagine. Logic's father is a black man of African descent who spent much of his life struggling with addiction and extreme poverty. Logic did not grow up in luxurious mansions. He was raised in the projects where he witnessed the most brutal discrimination directed at people like his father. The tragedy lies in the fact that Logic was caught in a racial gray area. He wasn't black enough to be fully accepted by the African American community, yet he wasn't white enough to escape the glares of prejudice when he was with his family. Logic's musical journey is a relentless effort to prove his identity. He once sent shockwaves through the industry by stating bluntly, "My skin is white, but my blood is black. I carry the soul of someone who grew up in the coldness of both worlds." For Logic, hip-hop was not a stylistic choice, but the only escape to release the pain of a torn identity. In his raps, he does not hesitate to use the N-word, an act that often sparks outrage from those who only look at his exterior without knowing his true origins. The depth of Logic's music lies in his brutally honest self-reflection. He recounts times when his own mother, who is white, called him racial slurs during her bouts of intoxication, and how his father was absent when he most needed guidance. Logic doesn't try to look black. He simply lives true to what flows in his veins. He is living proof that race is not a coat of paint, but a collection of experiences, pain, and cultural legacy. As we listen to Logic, we hear the heart of a man trying to mend the fractures of identity within himself. His presence challenges all our preconceptions about what a rapper should look like. And while Logic must shout for the world to recognize his blood in another space, one far more quiet and aristocratic in the 70s, a muse chose to let that legacy exist as a charming secret under the golden lights of high society parties. 6. Carly Simon, the glamorous muse and the African heritage under silk and velvet. When people think of Carly Simon, they immediately recall a 70s beauty icon with radiant lips, voluminous hair, and soulful confessional ballads like "You're So Vain." She was the embodiment of American intellectual beauty, the darling of the New York elite. With her quintessentially elegant European look, few could have guessed that Carly Simon's genealogy harbored a fascinating secret of racial intersection. The truth only gained significant attention in recent years. Carly Simon's maternal grandmother was a black woman of Cuban descent. This means the American muse carries a portion of African blood within her. In the context of 20th century American society where social classes were still divided by unspoken racial barriers, this information is like a vibrant splash of color on a canvas once thought to be pure. Carly Simon's multiracial heritage wasn't a topic she frequently used for publicity, but it is the key to understanding her exotic beauty and irresistible allure. The beauty of Carly Simon's story does not lie in fierce struggle like Logic or Halsey, but in the proud presence of that legacy within a very strict environment. The American elite of that time often sought to maintain a certain purity of appearance, but Carly Simon emerged as a sweet challenge. Her healthy olive skin, distinctive wide smile, and the soulfulness of her musical style were actually inheritances from her fiery Cuban-African biracial bloodline. Discovering Carly Simon's origins has changed the perspective of many cultural researchers regarding her musical era. It shows that even in places seemingly reserved for white people, Black heritage has always existed, contributing to the beauty and diversity of American art silently yet persistently. Carly Simon didn't need to explain. She only needed to live and sing with all her instincts, and those very instincts unintentionally reflected the racial diversity she carried within. Her story is a gentle yet profound note in the symphony of identity, reminding us that heritage sometimes lies not in what we declare, but in how we shine. And from the discreetly aristocratic beauty of Carly Simon, we are led to a younger, sharper-faced one who also possesses an unpredictable beauty and is taking modern Hollywood by storm through her own surprising roots. 7. Troian Bellisario, the undefinable beauty of modern Hollywood. In the world of hit television dramas, Troian Bellisario is best known for her role as Spencer Hastings in Pretty Little Liars. With her delicate features, deep aristocratic eyes, and light skin tone, audiences often default to assuming she is of Italian Greek or Southern European descent. Her elegance and intellectual aura built the image of a quintessential Hollywood white, good girl. However, if one flips through the genealogical records of the Bellisario family, they will find a surprising story of identity. Troian's father is Donald P. Bellisario, a legendary television mogul, but few know that he carries a complex biracial bloodline. More notably, Troian's paternal grandmother was a black woman. This means the Pretty Little Liars star carries a significant portion of African heritage. For Troian, possessing a white passing appearance is not a way to flee from her roots, but rather a lens through which she observes the world and racial prejudices from a multidimensional perspective. Deep within that Euro-American standard beauty is a quiet pride in her origins. Troian does not choose to use race as a media tool, but she is always frank when asked about her heritage. She is proof that Black heritage can exist in the most subtle and diverse forms. This racial blend created her unique facial bone structure and an unmistakable aura, a beauty that challenges all stereotypes of what someone with African roots must look like. Troian Bellisario's story reminds us that human diversity never fits neatly into preset boxes. Sometimes those we think are the most purebred are the very ones carrying the strongest cultural intersections. Troian has used her career and her appearance to prove that bloodline does not just define skin color, it defines the soul and the creative power of an artist. And if Troian is an example of Black heritage hidden under modern aristocratic beauty, our next character is the total opposite. A 100% white man who made the entire world, from audiences to legendary Black artists, question his origins based on one thing alone: his voice. 8. Tom Jones, the Welsh Lion and the 50-year question of bloodline. In this list, Tom Jones is a unique and somewhat ironic case. Unlike Mariah Carey or Tom Jones is 100% white hailing from Wales, yet his story is indispensable to this topic because throughout his 50-year career he has been the person most suspected of carrying black blood in the history of world music. How could a white man make an entire black community believe he was one of their own? The answer lies in the voice. From the moment he debuted with hits like It's Not Unusual or Delilah, Tom Jones caused a sensation with a baritone voice that was powerful, fiery, and above all, intensely soulful, a musical color considered a specialty flowing only in the veins of black artists of African descent. The way he riffed, the way he breathed, and the fire in his performance style were astonishingly similar to black singers. Even the legend Otis Redding once confessed that hearing Tom Jones on the radio for the first time, he was convinced he was listening to a rising black vocalist. This suspicion grew so large that it became a topic of discussion for decades. Tom Jones recounts that even doctors in his youth questioned his tight curls and skin pigmentation, asking if any of his ancestors were black slaves who had come to Wales. The pressure and public curiosity became so immense that in 2015, at the age of 75, Tom Jones decided to take an official DNA test to find the answer for himself and his fans. The result? He is entirely white. However, the miracle of Tom Jones lies in how he blurred the lines between race and music. Though his blood is white, his musical soul blends perfectly with black culture. He is proof that musical empathy can transcend all biological barriers. Tom Jones does not have black heritage in his genes, but he has it in his spirit. His story is a fascinating note, reminding us that sometimes the color of music is more powerful than the actual skin color of a human being. From a man with a black soul and a white body like Tom Jones, we turn back time to a woman, a true icon who paid an immense price for her biracial blood, who transformed the pain of an abandoned child into the power of one of the most formidable cat women in history. 9. Eartha Kitt, the cat woman and the pain of a child, rejected by the world. If there is anyone who embodies the power of rising from the ashes, it is Eartha Kitt. Before the world worshipped her as an icon of seduction with her signature growling voice and legendary role as Catwoman. Eartha Kitt endured a childhood she described as hell on earth. The truth of Eartha's origins is a deep-seated wound. She was the result of a brutal assault between a white man, a plantation owner, and a black woman working in South Carolina. The tragedy for Eartha was that she was shunned by her own community. In the eyes of black people at the time, her light skin, which they derisively called yella, was seen as a badge of shame and betrayal. She was abandoned by her mother because a new husband wouldn't accept a biracial child and was treated like a servant by her own relatives. Eartha Kitt grew up without a clear identity. She was not black enough to be protected by the black community, yet not white enough to be recognized by white society. However, that very rejection forged an iron-willed Eartha Kitt. She didn't choose to beg for acceptance. She chose to conquer the world with her natural-born talent. Whether on the music stage or the silver screen, Eartha turned her multiracial identity into a powerful weapon. She sang in multiple languages and performed with a regal, wild aura that no purebred white or black artist could ever replicate. Eartha Kitt once said, "I have no identity, so I created one for myself." She became a fierce civil rights activist, unafraid to confront the White House to fight for justice. Her story is an epic of overcoming racial pain to become a one-of-a-kind Catwoman. She transformed her once-cursed biracial skin into a symbol of borderless beauty, paving the way for countless multiracial artists who followed. The pride of Eartha Kitt was a fire that burned brightly for all to see. Yet at the same time on Broadway, there was another legend who chose a completely opposite path. To stand under the spotlight, she had to bury the secret of her bloodline in the shadows for 80 long years, all for a dream that was as brilliant as it was bitter. 10. Carol Channing, the 80-year secret behind a platinum mask. Carol Channing is an immortal titan of Broadway, forever linked to the hit Diamonds Are a Girl's Best Friend, and her starring role in Hello, Dolly. With her porcelain skin, sparkling wide eyes, and radiant blonde hair, Carol was the ideal image of a pure white star during Hollywood's golden age. But a shocking truth only reached the world when she turned 81. Carol Channing was a biracial black woman. Carol's father, George Channing, was a prominent journalist who carried a black biracial bloodline. To advance and survive in an American society divided by strict segregation laws, he chose to hide his origins and live as a white man. As Carol was preparing for college, her mother pulled her aside and shared a secret that would change her life forever. "I want you to know the truth, so if you ever have a child of color, you won't be shocked." From that moment on, Carol Channing lived a double life. She took the stage every night, receiving thunderous applause from thousands of white audience members who revered her as a symbol of purity. She knew that if her black heritage were exposed, her brilliant career would vanish instantly. For 80 years, Carol kept that truth locked away like a painful treasure. She witnessed civil rights struggles and the suffering of black artists, yet she remained silent behind her platinum mask. Finally, in 2002, in her autobiography, Carol decided to shed the last of her burden. She shared that she came forward not out of shame, but to honor her father, and to show the world that black heritage can exist in the most glamorous of places. Carol Channing's story is a heartbreaking testament to the sacrifices of a generation of artists who had to trade their identity to follow their passion. She passed away at the age of 97, leaving behind a massive musical legacy and a profound lesson about truth. Carol Channing and the 9 figures before her are the perfect pieces of a vibrant mosaic of the music world. They show that whether acknowledged or hidden, African blood has always been the source of strength, the soul that molded the immortal melodies we still listen to every day. 10 artists, 10 lives, but all connected by an invisible thread to their powerful African roots. Perhaps after this video, when you hear the hits of Mariah Carey or Slash again, you will feel the emotions on a much deeper level than ever before. Whose story moved you the most? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to hit subscribe so you don't miss the next surprising hidden stories of the music world.